What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Cigar Avengers. Today, we have a special guest. We can call Cigar royalty. You know,
Definitely.
we call him a man of very, 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 unique talent. And today we are joined by KLAAS KELNER. KLAAS, welcome to the Avengers Podcast. Thank you to thank you for everybody that's coming to tune in. And how we started off. I just want to say, KLAAS, thanks for coming on. And how was your week starting off? We'll start off with that right there. How are you doing,
guys? Skinny money, of course.
Skinny.
That's our guy.
Thank you, everybody at the Avengers Podcast, Cigar Avengers Podcast. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Inno. It's a pleasure. It's a long weekend here in Dominican Republic. Nice. We're celebrating basically the Day of the Worker, Labor Day. And here I am working on a Saturday night.
Well, hopefully we don't make it feel like work for you. Hopefully you feel like you're sitting back having a cigar with your friends.
And speaking of cigar, what are you smoking, KLAAS?
Yes.
What are you smoking today?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
I'm working on something you should be I'm smoking and working on something that you should be very excited about. But I can't tell you.
First, KLAAS, anything that you're working on, I am very, 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 very excited for. So Skinny Money was the first one to ever give me one of your cigars. So he gave me both of your cigars from Tobacco Greenwich.
Yes.
So actually, no, Steven gave me two, and then Skinny gave me two. So so Steven gave me the first ones. And I go, what is this? And then I told Skinny, and Skinny broke it down to me. And I was like, these two cigars are like, you're smoking it. It's like, I don't want this to end. This cannot end.
Yeah, definitely. I know what. So now tonight, what are you smoking? We both smoking the same thing, aren't we?
Smoking the 80th.
Now, for those who don't know, we are smoking. I'm sure many of you know what this cigar is right here that we're smoking. Many of you have bought this cigar by the box. Many of you. And listen, we are super honored to have you on, KLAAS. We really appreciate you for coming on, taking out the time because you're working, We really appreciate you, man. So for everybody that's joining in, we really appreciate y'all. If you have any questions for KLAAS, please drop them down in the comments and we will get to them shortly. Shout out to of course our sponsor Small Batch. Also shout out to Dave. Shout out to Dave of Aval Cigars. And listen, when I told Dave that you were going to be on the show, Dave was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "Man, that's so cool."
Show, right?
Yeah. So shout out to Dave, man. Shout out to Small Batch. Also, if you use our code at Small Batch, if you use our code Avengers in all caps, of course, you get a little surprise with your order. So we're gonna get these questions rolling because I definitely have some questions. So let's talk about. So first off, we got to talk about the origin and legacy because you come from a legendary cigar family. So what's something people think about? What's something people think they know about the Kelner name that's actually misunderstood?
I think when we talk about the Kelner family, we always have to talk about the patriarch, my dad, my father, Henke Kelner, and he is responsible for many of the brands that are very successful today. Brands that we worked with, brands that I was born with, including brands like Davidoff, Avo. Avo was like my grandfather, almost. I own this piano here. That's the piano I learned how to play on. And I'm super grateful to all my time over there and everything that they did for my family. But they always, a lot of people first think about my father as a master blender. And I think if you need to look at my family as a whole, we're very humble. We don't like the word master, but they sometimes just put my dad in the blending category, and he's an industrial engineer uh, by study. And for us to be masters at our craft, it's not just about blending. It's not just about organizing a factory or being a good boss and being a good leader, because you have to make hundreds of thousands of cigars. But it's also about understanding every part of the process. And when we go back to my grandfather, because I'm third generation, my grandfather and his brothers moved down to Dominican Republic, some to Brazil, and we were tobacco brokers, tobacco growers, sellers. My family developed trading hubs around the Dominican Republic, traded and grew tobacco in different parts of the world. So when you look at my family as a whole, you have to understand that we come from the base, which is the tobacco. And once you understand that, you understand the different regions, the different soils that my father was able to categorize around the country. And then you start to understand fermentation, seed creation, how curing affects, what does the fermentation, what does the aging, and you put all of that together. That's when you can start calling yourself a master.
Right.
And it's to be a master, you have to understand everything. And I hope to be half the master that my dad is, because if I am just half, then I will have made it.
So going off of that,
Answer.
you speak on your dad.
Mhm.
How, when you decided to go your own way and start your own factory, and coming up with that decision that I'm going to branch off, like, how did he take it? Like, what was that conversation like when you were finally like, Dad, I think I'm going to start my own factory?
The conversation had always been a possibility, and I always knew I was going to be a blender. I always knew I was going to create cigars. It just depended with who, how, when, where, and then it ended up being that I ended up doing it myself. And my father contract with Davidoff ended. 1 year later, my contract with Davidoff ended, and the time was just right. I remember sitting with my father and telling him about the possibility, and he kept saying, "You don't understand how hard that is. You come from a factory that was already built.
Right.
You know marketing, you know sales, you know farming, you know the factory, but you've never started from zero. So are you sure you want to do this?" And yes, starting from zero there's a big learning curve. A lot of things that you take for granted, little things such as like electricity, little things such as wiring and temperature controls and all the systems you're going to be using, and construction of a factory, getting the right workers, building a team around you that you can learn to trust. So
Right.
yes, it was very hard. And I remember sitting with him and doing like all the numbers. Look, we're going to make X amount of cigars by this year. We're going to make X amount of cigars by this year. These are the vitolas I'm going to focus on. This is the profitability, the margins, everything. And he's like, "Are you sure you still want to do this?" It's like, look, maybe by year 5 I'll be okay.
Right. Yeah.
And, it's a new venture, a new business, and he said, "Yes, if this is the route you want to go, I'll support you." And I was like, "Okay, perfect. Now I have your blessing. Now I need another blessing."
Right.
And he's like, "Whose blessing?" "Well, the rest of my family. My big brother, who has another cigar factory, the KBF factory, and my sisters that grow tobacco. So now I got to tell my whole family that I'm going to do this, and I want their blessing." So I was not going to do this unless I had everybody's blessing. And he told me, "And now you got to get the approval, and now you have to go get this paper, and you're not going to start until September or October this year." And I told him in 1 month. And in 1 month, I had all the approvals and everything, and I was able to start going.
You know what? I see your dad just sitting back like in The Godfather. So you come
With a
to
cigar
me,
in his mouth.
yeah, like you come to me asking for my blessing. And, like he's like you come in and you make the pitch to him, and he's like, "You have my blessing."
Yeah.
But how, just going, so from your, for the first 6 months of you, finally having everything built, you know, and you having everything built, everything's ready to go. How hard was the process of picking blenders, and also just picking your team and people that you can trust? Because trusting people in business is probably one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. I consider myself a person that wants to be part of everything. My factory is still very small, so I can be part of everything. I think 3 years in now, the team has developed well, and I have 4 supervisors between 3 different areas, plus an admin person that helps me, and then my wife and I do everything. um, so after 3 years, I think the team has settled in. Getting a one supervisor for the whole floor, getting one person for admin that I can trust in and can do all the busy work while I'm actually buying tobacco, or I'm actually developing new blends or dealing with clients. Very, very important, because you can't do everything yourself. So
Exactly.
finding those people that believe also in what you're planning to do. I sat down with many rollers. I sat down with many supervisors, potential supervisors, and I needed one that understood my blending style, but also understood um, what the vision is to the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Right.
crazy growth. It is slow, moderate growth with a lot of attention to detail. We're going to see a lot of rejections at the beginning. We're going to be very strict on the rollers right from the beginning.
Mhm.
And we need to get rollers that are going to have a hard time adapting to a factory that is that strict. Um, and finding those rollers, sitting down with every single one of those rollers before in the hiring process. Uh, Not every hire was perfect. Not every hire is so perfect, but um, you you work with them and you try to tutor them. You try to mold them. Some are younger, some are older. It's the hardest part is the people.
Right.
Like, tobacco, if it was just tobacco and it was only me doing it, it would be so easy, not dealing with
Yeah.
anybody else. If you could do thousands and thousands of cigars just yourself, I mean, that's why machines,
Mm-hmm.
turn off.
Yeah.
But no, the hardest part is people.
Wow. Now, now real quick, we got some because everybody's dropping their questions, and listen, we really appreciate everybody too. And if you listen, y'all do us a favor. If you have not, share the live, like the live for us. It really helps us out. And we really appreciate everybody for coming through and hanging with us on this fantastic evening with a big time guest right now. Man, this is awesome right now. So shout out to Zach. Zach has a question. I don't know if we are starting questions, Zach, but he said, but KLAAS, do you plan on releasing more of your own cigars like the Kelner 80th rather than a lot of collabs you've been doing with other brands?
I think that's a future direction, of course.
Mhm.
Not
Right.
that I can talk too much about it because, but when we released the 80th was in concept a gift, a gift to my father, a gift for everything that he's done for us, a gift from us to the industry, um, something to commemorate all his achievements. Try to imagine all his achievements into one cigar, into one presentation, one packaging, something that says, "Hey, Dad, thank you for everything you've done for us."
Hmm.
Everything was planned as a gift, but then you release it, and then it sells out in a matter of less than 2 months,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh, and then I have literally 15 boxes left, like, which are mine. I'm not touching them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Uh,
we gave 100 boxes to the family, and I have like 15 boxes that, like, one of them is
oh man.
this, one of the, I am not giving them up,
At
but
all.
it's sold out. If you find them in a store and they still have stock, and there's no more, and the number one question
Yeah.
I've gotten is, are you going to make more? No, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the number two question I've gotten is there going to be an 81? or is there going to be something else coming? And I think there's such a demand for it that maybe it would be stupid to not do it.
Yeah,
So there's
exactly.
things that we are already inspiring ourselves in, and we're already thinking about what would come next. And once it's presentable and once it's ready, then you would be hearing about it. But we are already thinking about things and what do we do next to keep honoring the Kelner name?
Wow, that's
Mhm.
awesome right there. So we got shout out to Darshan. Darshan said, "KLAAS, what he said, it's one thing about the brand. He said, what is one thing about the brand that you would like people to know that may not already know?"
Well, there is no brand. The Kelner 80th is a one-time cigar. I am. A lot of people think there is a brand, and when they arrive to the factory, they come asking for, hey, what are these cigars? What are the cigars that you have available for me to purchase? And and I had a guy just show up in my factory the other day, just knocking like a cold call, and then he's like, finally found you. How can I buy your cigars? It's like, well, you can't. Like, what do you mean? It's like every cigar that gets produced in this factory is custom made to every single client. So I don't make a generic blend that's always available. I don't have. If somebody comes to my factory and says, "Hey, I want to make cigars with you," I am not the kind of guy that will have like 5 blends ready. It's like, "Hey, pick one of these 5."
Yeah.
No, every single one of my clients comes in, spends time with me, and we develop a blend together. And every single one of those blends is exclusive to that client. So that is an attention to detail and attention to my client, to my customers, and a pro of working with me, that I will actually spend time learning your palate, learning what you need, and then adapting to your needs with the tobaccos I can find to your request. And then we'll work on it. And then I'll suggest maybe not this, maybe we could substitute with this. And then we will go back and forth until we land on a blend that they like.
Yeah. Shout out to Peter. Shout out to our brothers over there at Cigars Unbanned. He said it's time to make the brand.
Don't listen to nothing that Peter said. If Peter say do this, you go left. All right. Like you're like, all right, thanks. Yeah, yeah. All right.
You know, the Kelner family has always been about private labels.
Right.
The Kelner family, my dad made his factory in '84, and then along came Avo and became a client of his, and he was making that private label for them. Along came the Davidoff family. He started making a private label for them. Along came the Griffin, the Bernard Robert. Along came the Ashton. And then he would make all these brands for other people. He never really focused on his own brand. The Kelner family likes focusing on quality and working at the factory, making sure all the processes and the factory's running well. That's what my brother is also doing. My brother focuses on making private labels for other people. When I made my factory, I also wanted to focus on that. We like focusing on the factory. We like focusing on quality control. I don't mind sales and marketing and traveling, but our focus is definitely here in Dominican Republic at the factory.
Now,
awesome.
yeah.
Ahead,
One thing I wanted to jump to was you said your grandfather taught you how to play the piano.
No,
You got his piano.
Avo was like my grandfather.
Ah,
Avo
okay.
Amazing. Yeah, that's actually my grandfather. The one you're thinking of. Actually, I never met him.
Okay.
He passed away when my dad was 17.
Wow.
So my dad, he left the family bankrupt. They had nothing, and then my dad got a government scholarship to go and study in Mexico in El Tecnológico de Monterrey, and he became an industrial engineer. And then when he came back, then he started working in tobacco. Yeah, my family at one point was not in the best position.
So I know that Howard G is very close to the owner of Avo. He actually called him Papa.
Avo Uvezian, he was when he was living in Puerto Rico, he would fly to Santiago and to purchase cigars, and he would put them in his luggage and fly back to Puerto Rico and sell them at the hotel, at the piano bar and everything. And I would see him every month as a little kid, and he would come. And when he sold the brand to the Davidoff, to Ottinger Davidoff, he bought himself a very nice piano as a gift. And then his old piano, he flew the piano to Dominican Republic and delivered it as a surprise to my dad. And nobody played piano at the time. So we had this piano delivered at my house, and my dad was like, "Why are you giving me this piano?" And nobody plays piano. He said, "Well, once a month when I come, I'm going to play it." And then a few years later, I learned how to play on that piano, and Ava would teach me a little bit.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like that's a hell of a story. So and everybody, we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you have any questions, please drop them down, and we're going to get to your questions as soon as we can. So let's get into blending and crafting real quick. So I want to ask you some questions. So, and I got all my questions written down. I was prepared for this. So real quick, can you walk us through your creative process? Like, are you chasing a flavor, a feeling, or a memory when you build a blend?
There's two ways, in my opinion, to create a cigar. One of them comes from inspiration, from finding something new, from developing something new, dreaming about something new. It has happened where, like, I wake up with an idea, or I'm tasting something like food or a wine, and you get an idea, and then you chase that inspiration. The other way is less romantic. The other way is coming in already with a concept, with a marketing concept, with a sales concept, a packaging concept, and then you have to blend to that, which limits your creativity, but at least you know it has like a purpose, and you know exactly what you're looking for. I have both. I have clients that come in already with a very clear concept of what they want, including asking for very specific tobaccos. Saying, I need a blend that has this tobacco as a wrapper, or I need a blend that has this tobacco in the filler. And already it's a demand from that client. Sometimes I will say no if I can't do it, or I really don't think it's right. But normally you will work for that concept. The other one is more fun, where as a blender, knowing my inventory or finding something new to add to my inventory, I need to know my ingredients. I need to memorize my ingredients, and I need to know how those ingredients interact with the other ingredients. So whenever I am like buying tobacco with a supplier, sometimes it happens more often than you would imagine. Supplier will be like, "Hey, I have this tobacco that I really want you to try. Please try it. Let me know what you think. Would you be willing to buy it?" And the first questions that come up for me is, how consistently can I get this tobacco? How much of it is available? Are you going to repeat this crop next year? Is this for a limited edition? Is this for an ongoing line? I don't want to back myself into a corner or an uncomfortable position where all of a sudden that tobacco is not available. So those are questions that you need to think as a manager, as a process flow, inventory control in your factory. So you're also limited by your capacity and your inventory and your quantity. But then when I try something new, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, that would be complemented very well by this other tobacco I already have. And as a blender, the first thing I'm thinking is full palate stimulation, which is a concept very well known to the family, to my father's blending style. We try to always aim for full palate stimulation. So when you think, okay, sweet, salty, acid, bitter, umami in the center, those. So I need to cover all the areas. And if a tobacco is missing one of those areas, then I need to complement it with something that that hits that with another ingredient that fills in those holes. And as long as I can achieve a full palate stimulation, that's what I'm always aiming for. So I try something new. It's sweet. Okay, it's missing the bitter. I need to find something bitter that complements it. And then I'll try different bitter tobaccos that go with it. And through trial and error, you will match and tweak, add a little bit more of this, add a little bit more of this until you get that full palate stimulation that I'm looking for.
And one thing I will say about this Kelner 80th, this right here is like a graham cracker cookie. This is insane. And I'm smoking it and I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna make another one of these, which is like insane.
Yeah.
You know, it's but the best part about that is that it's gonna be one of those cigars that you never forget.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it puts you in that mind where it's like, damn, do you remember that Kelner 80th? You know, how good was that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's something that is this cigar is really just like blowing me away with
definitely
retro.
It's definitely,
you know,
this
especially
is
with the mouthfeel. It's like this is amazing.
Thank you for the nice words.
No problem at all. Now, one thing I have to ask, like, so when you're buying your tobacco and you know you're looking at it, like, what are you looking for when you see that bale? Like, what are certain qualities you look for in the bale when you're picking out your tobacco?
The first thing is we open up the bale. Suppliers will normally grab about 2 pounds, open up a little, take out 2 pounds, put it on top of the bale. And that's when you have 100 bales, you're checking little bit by little. So the first thing is I look at what the supplier pulled out, and I look at the health of the leaf. I look at the vein structure of the leaf to see if it's really the variety that it is, the leaf structure. I smell what they pulled out. And then the second thing I do is I forget about what they pulled out, and then I pull out my own thing. Then I go back into the bale and I pull out another sample myself to make sure that they didn't cherry pick.
Is that yeah?
You know, the other thing I do that a lot of people find funny when they see me in my buying process is I open up the bale and then I literally stick my head in there, and it looks very funny from outside. But and I just go, and I take a big just aroma seeing the bale. I was taught very early on by a Dutch guy how to identify when a bale goes flat or a bale is aging properly.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I look for is the humidity of the bale, how dry the bale is, if the bale is flat in aroma, if the bale has the aromas that I'm looking for. Does the bale have the same aromas as the bales I have previously bought in the past? And if the quality is there, the health of the leaf, I'm always buying grade A, grade 1 quality. If the size of the leaf is right for the projects I'm looking for, if the aroma is right, then the last thing I do is I taste the bale. So I roll up a little mini cigar, 100% pure of the tobacco from that bale. Mm-hmm. And I taste every bale one by one. And then I start rejecting the bales that I don't like. So if I'm going to go buy 5 bales, I normally ask the supplier, hey, bring out 10. And maybe I'll find 5 good ones in the first 7, but I always want to at least try more than half so that I can reject something. Make sure that I am getting only the best and that all the bales taste exactly the same. All the bales smell exactly the same. And exactly the same to what I've previously bought as well. So to buy a couple bales will take me 2 hours. And I have found that buying process is probably the funnest part of the whole thing. I don't know why, but everybody asks me what's the best part of the whole process. What do you like the most? Is it blending? Is it the factory? I don't know. I love buying tobacco. I love buying tobacco.
Well, because you know what? Because like it's kind of like a kid in a candy store. Mm-hmm. You know, and tobacco is our candy. Mm-hmm. You know, you're like, let me try some of this. Let me try some of that. You know, and you're there and you're seeing all these bells and you're just like, and then your mind starts racing like, okay, what can I use? What can I do with this? All right, like this right here tastes amazing. I can do so many things with this right here.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
and sometimes a supplier will give you a tobacco that you've never had and might be great, but then it's not right for the projects that you're looking for. It's
yeah,
not right for the quantity of cigars that you want to make. It's not right because of the quantity of tobacco that they have. And it's like, I wish I should buy
yeah.
that. Maybe
No,
I
what?
won't.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you
yeah,
know what the thing is you can always buy it, but then so like my question to you is, how long does the tobacco stay good and not get dehumidified after you buy it? Is it 2 to 3 years? Is it 5 years? Because is it something that you'll be able to hold on to for a while to get that same kind of quality that you want?
there's a slight misunderstanding sometimes in that question. Uh, uh, it is very unusual to find very old wrappers.
Okay.
And I get a lot of people that come to my factory and they ask me, "What's the oldest wrapper you have?" And they want 15-year-old wrappers, 10-year-old wrappers, 6-year-old wrappers, 5-year-old plus. In the wrapper world, finding wrappers more than 2 3 years, it's very unusual. Because with wrapper, you really want that wrapper to have that elasticity, the essential oils, and then there's another business aspect of it, and it's that the the suppliers, the wrapper is the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
So not only do you not want the wrapper to go bad, and the longer you have those bales sitting around, being moved around, being fumigated, spending time and money on that wrapper, the more likely is for those wrappers to break. You know, uh,
Mm,
and a broken wrapper is an
yeah.
expensive piece of
Yeah.
tobacco that broke. Filler, if filler breaks a little bit, if filler, it's not so much of a problem. But suppliers, from a business sense, don't want to be holding on to these massive amounts of inventory that cost them a ton of sitting money that is not moving. They want to make that tobacco liquid, and so it is very unlikely to find very old tobaccos. And when you have find very old wrappers, they they're normally not a lot. It's like the leftovers of previous crops. Now,
Mm,
when it comes to fillers, there's a much easy. It's much easier to find very old tobaccos, and tobaccos that have more essential oils, tobacco that have a thicker leaf structure, they can last longer. Tobaccos that are very thin, tobaccos that are very low in oils and essential oils, they could technically age less.
Right.
And if the oils disappear, then the taste of the tobacco disappears, and then the tobacco goes flat. So
mm,
it is, but as long as you have decent humidity, you're storing it well, you're fumigating it well regularly so that bugs don't go get to them, then tobacco has a very long age span. I mean,
Right.
you can find 20-year-old tobaccos that are great still. And same with cigars. As long as you're aging your cigars properly, low humidity, don't let them evolve too much. Cigars can have a longer age period than most people think.
Yeah, so I want to ask you. Oh, there's some other people that was asking the question. And shout out to Sal. Sal's up in here. Sal said the
Sal.
rapper on the Awakening is fairly aged, right?
Yeah. So with the Awakening project, we found four bales that were from 2014. And it's like I'm saying, it was the leftover, the
Mm-hmm.
last bales, 4 bales, a hybrid variety, uh, very special. And there were the last 4 bales, and the supplier was like, "Yeah, sure, if you want them." And so when I talked to the guys from Avowed Cigar Company, Andrew, Dave, Mark, which I love those guys, sponsors here. Um,
Yeah.
they, I told them, look, if we're gonna use this tobacco, we need to buy all 4 bales. I'm not gonna just buy 3 from the supplier and leave him hanging with the last one. We got to buy all 4 bales, and it has to be a limited edition. There's only 4 bales in existence, and that's it. So when we run out of those bales, that's when the project ends. We did 20,000 something cigars.
Yeah.
So
And,
I have two.
and
I'm
tobacco
sorry.
ran out. And then what do you do? And so, like, there were some cigars that the wrapper broke. That tobacco was so old that the wrapper is a little bit more frail, a little bit less oils over
Yeah.
time. So we had a lot of breakages, sadly. So okay,
Really?
so let's have an Habano wrapper on it. Let's try an Habano wrapper. Let's try the Connecticut wrapper on it. Let's try other wrappers on it. Let's see if we can recreate this cigar with a different wrapper. Same, not possible. So that wrapper tasted very specifically, and there's no more of it. And so I literally cannot recreate that cigar exactly the same. That cigar is gone.
Wow.
So I
That's
have a
crazy.
question. Just so one bale, how many cigars can you make out of one bale of tobacco?
The question is not structured correctly.
Okay.
How many cigars can you make from X amount of tobacco, X amount of pounds of tobacco?
Pound. Okay,
Would
perfect.
be the better way to answer that.
Okay.
And then it depends on the size of the cigar. For example, for me, a very normal measurement would be about 40 pounds of filler for every 1,000 cigars, about, depending on the size of the wrapper, the thickness of the wrapper, the thickness of the binder, about 10 pounds, 9 pounds of binder, and then about 8 pounds, 7 pounds of wrapper. You end up with like 55 pounds of tobacco per 1,000 cigars for a Robusto.
Okay.
So, and then for a Toro, the measurement is different. For a Grand Robusto, the measurement is different. For a Corona, so every size has a different amount of tobacco. And then a bale normally has over 100 pounds, let's say 120 pounds. If you were to make a cigar of only one bale, which is not the case, never.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine it was all filler, binder, wrapper, just one bale. Then you could probably make from one bale about 2,000 cigars.
Okay.
Yeah, but that is the question.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's so when I give the tobacco to my rollers, we give the weights. So at the end of the day, they will have been given 15 pounds of tobacco, more or less. And then from those 15 pounds of tobacco, they have to make like 400 cigars. And if at the end of the day they haven't made 400 cigars, where did everything go wrong? Because we still gave you 15 pounds of tobacco. Was the tobacco bad? Did you return it? Did you just not work well? Did you waste it? Did you put too much tobacco inside and it was too tight? Did you put too little tobacco on top, and instead of making 400 cigars, you make 450? So the cigar is going to be loose. So the measurement of weight is actually a very important part of the process of making cigars, because that's a control that makes sure the cigar has the right amount of tobacco in every single cigar.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. So we got a question from Zach here. Zach asks if you have any hot takes, like a cigar. A lot of people love that you're not crazy about or don't like, or humidity is a myth, which that is hilarious to me because I know why he said that shit. But yeah, and do you have any hot takes?
Smoked cigars with straight cut.
Yeah.
Oh, man, oh god.
Uh-huh.
KLAAS, come on, man.
Straight cuts.
V cut is the way.
Oh, straight cut is the way.
No, I can't.
Hey, Fred. Hey, in the words of the Mandalorian, this is the way.
No.
Cellophane.
Yeah,
Use cellophane.
Yeah.
I am a cellophane evangelist. I am a straight cut evangelist.
So
Single flame.
Single flame.
Single flame. One, not three, not two. You can do soft flame. That's
Soft
fine.
flame.
But I like torch single flame. Very precise. Humidity
Now,
depends on your country. I like humidity low for me. I live in a very humid country. Depends on your storage conditions, but I like my humidity low. I think cigars age better in lower humidity. Not so low that it's drying and cracking and breaking, but straight cut. Why? Let's answer the why.
I want to know why straight cut.
Most cigar manufacturers smoke cigars with straight cut. I smoke all my cigars and I test all my cigars with straight cut. If you change the cut, the cigar tastes different. If a V cut opening is different than a straight cut opening, a hole punch opening, these holes act like a filter and they will make the cigar taste different. So if you want to smoke the cigar how the owner or the blender made them, smoke the cigar how the owner makes them, because that's how I envisioned the blend. And then off of that, when you make a cigar and you blend a cigar and you envision a blender normally thinks how that cigar is going to taste 3-6 months down the road once it hit the market or once the humidity has stabilized. Almost never a blender thinks about how will this cigar taste in 10 years. Again, this cigar will age very, very well. Well, normally what you're smoking right now is what the blender envisioned. Put yourself in the shoes of the blender. That's my hot take.
You know what? That's my thing too. Is like a lot of people say, this cigar will get better with time. Like, how do you feel about that take when people say, all right, well, this cigar has to rest more?
Hey, there's actually
I think some truth into it.
There's actually truth to it. There's a lot of products that can be rushed out to market. There's a lot of products that the tobacco didn't receive the right fermentation. And sometimes you can actually tell. Sometimes it's just the blend or the varieties of tobaccos that they used in there. But sometimes it's a fermentation issue or it's an aging issue or it's a product rushed to market. So there is some truth to that. Now, if you're working with companies that do the fermentation right, do the aging right, do all the processes before, right, and then age the cigars enough in their aging rooms before they shipped it out to market, then in theory, you should not have to say that because the blender is making a cigar for what's going to sell that year,
right?
When it hits the market. The blender is not thinking about a cigar that's going to sell 2 years down the road, 3 years, 5 years down the road. A blender or a company is thinking about the cigar is going to be in market. So the cigar should be ready by the time it hits the market.
Now, my only belief with that was that when they say, like, if I've only bought one of that cigar and it's rushed to market and I have a bad experience with that cigar, some people might not ever go back to that cigar and try it 8 months from now.
Yeah.
So why would you put something out on the market that can really just almost kill your brand because of the fact that you rushed it?
Corporate.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you saw him. He said, "That means
corporate decision."
Corporate decision.
Yeah, but sometimes there take into account travel sickness for cigars. The 80th hopefully didn't have as much travel sickness because there's a Boveda pack inside. Thank you, Boveda. Thank you, my friend Boveda, that participated in the project. So, but for example, the 80th shipped. Well, there was a massive snowstorm going on in the north of the country.
Yeah.
And some shipments took a little longer, some shipments to retail stores. And I remember like getting messages from the retailers and it's like, cigar just landed. I'm going to start selling them right now. And I'm like,
yeah,
please no travel sickness, please. No travel sickness. And I always laugh when like I ship a cigar from a factory, lands and they are out of the carton. They're like smoking it right away. I'm like, ooh, that cigar just went on an airplane. That cigar has been on a truck. God knows what that cigar went through. And the first thing you're doing is lighting it up. So give it a little bit of rest, please, before you light it.
So that's basic because there's all of us, especially from the reviewer standpoint. I know, like when we get excited about a cigar that from a brand that we like, as soon as we get that order in, like should we let this? Nah, fuck that. We're gonna go ahead and light it up now. So basically, you're saying don't do that. We shouldn't do that, right?
I mean, everybody. But at least give a cigar a second chance. At least if give it a second chance.
Right.
And if it tasted like the first time, then you're okay.
So Shout out to Sylvian Workshop. We appreciate y'all for hanging
Mhm.
with us. So, what about aging cigars in different wood? What was it? Varietals, Spanish cedar, oak.
I like using okume.
You like doing oak?
Yeah, okume.
Oh, oakumane.
Okume.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't smell like anything, so it doesn't add taste to the tobacco. The tobacco leaf has the capacity to absorb all the tastes from around it. Most of us in the cigar industry don't like using perfumes, oils, ointments, uh, creams. If
Right.
you're going to be touching tobacco, none of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The moment tobacco touches anything that is liquid or creamy or something or an aroma, it will absorb that. If you put tobacco in a room with, I don't know, a vat of wine next to it, you know,
Mhm.
and you shut that room closed for a couple days, tobacco is going to start smelling like it's and tasting like that vat of wine or whatever you put in there. So nothing that adds aromas, nothing that might add a taste. That's my preference. If you do cedar wood in boxes, if you package your cigars with cedar, just know that there will be an influence, and it's beautiful when you open up a box and there's a nice cedar in it and it has engravings on it or some
Yeah.
sort of sign branding. And I'm not against it, but it will have a little bit of an effect on the cigar. Might not be negative, but if you're a
Right.
purist, you don't want other outside influences to be added onto it. I mean, I've worked on projects with barrels, that add flavors and add aromas to tobacco. I'm not against it, but I'm more of a purist and I like my tobacco to taste like tobacco with no outside influence.
Understandable. So I got a quick question. So we go back to the hot take portion real quick because it's been an ongoing argument for the longest as far as what to light your cigar with. Like, no, only use like when they say the soft flame. So, but when it comes to the type of lighter, I've heard people say don't use a big lighter, don't use this. And so, I mean, is that important? Because I mean, coming from you, it means a lot. So I want to know because you have some guys that they use whatever they can to light their cigar, and whatever they have, just say, "Hey, I forgot my torch lighter. I don't have it, but I do have this big lighter. So let me just use that." So is that something that what do you like? What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, if you really want to smoke a cigar and you need fire, use whatever is
Use
available.
whatever, right?
But just know it might influence it.
Mm.
The thing is with like the very high end lighters, the nicer cigar lighters, they use special gas that burns cleaner, doesn't add anything to the cigar. And you have to understand that a cigar is a filter. It's not romantic to think about it, but anything that you push through the cigar as you light
Right.
it will get stuck in the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
That's why also, if you lay down a cigar in an ashtray, 2 hours later, 3 hours later, you come back and relight it, that cigar is going to taste harsher. That's because all the particles of the smoke that went through it have already settled down, and now the
Right.
cigar tastes like an ashtray. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that you push through the cigar and stays inside the cigar, any chemicals, anything that might have gone through it as you were smoking it, will have an impact on the cigar. Now, tobacco burns at different temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
So light tobaccos and light cigars require less heat. Strong cigars, stronger tobaccos require more heat. So be very mindful of not torching your cigar to a point that it's carbonized,
Mm-hmm.
that is black, because now you have burned off all the oils, and what you're going to be smoking is tobacco that has been charred.
Right.
So that's why soft flame is normally the best way to go, because you're not going to get those charred notes, those harsher notes from burning the tobacco. But obviously, a torch is just much more efficient. It's much more reliable, especially if you're smoking outside. You
Yeah.
know, but that's why I like single flame. It's more precise.
Right.
It can be very precise of exactly where I'm lighting it up and how
Mhm.
far I'm lighting it up. And always start with the sides and then go to the center, because in the center, when you get that cone effect, that means it's a good construction. The center is where the stronger tobacco is, the thickest tobacco, and that's where it needs more temperature. So
Mm.
every cigar, I every cigar, every blend, it's its own animal. Every cigar needs to be understood.
Right.
And when you see a wrapper, when you see a binder, when you see the components, and you start understanding how that cigar is, then the second time around, the third time around, you're going to have a better experience, because you're going to know how to work the cigar,
Right.
the temperatures, the intervals between every puff. This cigar is a little bit on the lighter side. This cigar has a little more seco in it. It will stay lit longer. My intervals can be longer between every puff. And understanding every single cigar, understanding your favorite cigar is very important.
Now, I have a hot take for you now. Now, now
And
your
Sal,
family.
we're gonna get to your question just a minute, Sal.
So now in your family, so out of you and your siblings, what do you think all of your gifts are? Because I'm pretty sure you say, "Oh, my brother, he's amazing at doing this." My sister, she's great at doing this. Like, what do you think all you guys like separate gifts are? And also, who do you
Who's
think
best?
blends the best out of
Best.
all of them?
No, my dad's ability for identifying tobaccos when he smokes a cigar
Mm-hmm.
is unbeatable. I don't think I've ever seen anybody be able to dissect a cigar as good as he does when he smokes. My dad's sense of taste, sense of his library of taste and aromas that he has memorized, and he can pick out when
You're skinny.
smoking different cigars. Um,
Skinny.
um, so starting with my dad, I think my dad is a great industrial engineer and everything, but I think his top skill that's unrivaled, unmatched, is his ability to taste different tobaccos and be able to examine a blend just that he has never had before, unbanded. It is impressive. It's out of this world. Um, my big brother, he is a micromanager. He's attention to detail. It's impressive. His attention to detail. My big sister Catherine, she's an industrial engineer, tried and true, proven organization. She can run a factory, any factory, optimize it. That's her skill. Um, my sister loves the trade of selling and tobacco broker and growing tobacco. She's very, very good at that, and that's what she has developed her skills in. It's my other sister, Monica. I have two younger brothers that are. One of them is still studying. I think he's going to be a great representative of the. He's a politician. He knows he knows how to. Everybody likes him.
Mm-hmm.
He is so sweet. He's nice. That's Hendrik Alexander. He just has a way with people. People love him.
Yeah.
Marco, he is the smartest one. Marco is the smartest one by far. And he's great with systems, with technology, with everything. He likes tobacco. All my brothers, all my sisters like tobacco. But if I had to say, he's the smartest one. And me, my dad says that I'm the ugliest one of all of them. I had to develop other traits to make up for them. I like to think that I am a very fair, a very people's person, and I I think one of my strongest fortes is education. talking to
Mm,
people, teaching people,
yeah.
communicating to people. Um, did I think ever I was going to be running a factory, creating blends? Yes. Am I very good at it? I hope so. People like my cigars. You know,
Yes. Yes.
I like the
Yes.
most is identifying tobaccos and buying tobacco. I follow in my dad's footsteps a lot in that sense.
Nice.
But I am a better communicator than my father. My dad is a better taster. I'm a better communicator.
So
Okay.
I will say this: there's one person that I've met that can literally smoke a cigar and tell you where it's from, where it was where the fun where it was bought from, tobacco was bought from, and that is Chico Rivas.
He's good.
Chico, like I seen him take an unbedded cigar, smoke it, and go. This tobacco, that tobacco.
That's a
You
talent.
know, man, I was blown away. It was so. Chico's the only reason why I want to learn Spanish, so I can just literally sit there and just talk to him all day.
You know the people that are actually blending, actively blending, and actively buying tobacco. That's a skill they develop. Chico's very good. I was hanging out with him the other day.
Yeah.
Chico's amazing. Chico is son's amazing. You know.
When you have a smaller factory and you
Mm-hmm.
are everything, you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't delegate as much. Um, you just start picking up these skills. But being in the factory, being on the floor, being in the buying, being in the sorting, constantly, that's really what develops the skill. I to be a master at it, you cannot be home or at a
Mm-hmm.
cigar shop smoking cigars. You got to
Yep.
be at the factory smoking individual ingredients.
Right.
That's the only way you're going to ever develop this skill, by constantly tracing the ingredients by themselves. It's the only.
Right. So we got a question from Sal here, and I'll ask my question after this one. He said 12% total moisture, 65 to 68% internal humidity.
I age my cigars at 60,
Mm,
but
Mhm.
it depends what you like.
right.
For example, I know that if and temperature under 20 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
But what normally happens is when I take it out, I let it rest uh, on the table for a while, so that the temperature goes back up, and then it will start taking humidity from the environment, because I live in a very high
Mm-hmm.
humidity environment. So if you don't live in a very high humidity environment, I think go higher.
I'm in Texas, so I have to 60 through 62 is where I live.
I think 70 at the smoking time, 70. If you light up your cigar and it's crackling a lot, maybe it's a little too dry. And then every cigar will tell you how much. And
Right.
especially when you have very oily wrappers, when you have very oily binders, lower.
Yeah.
If it's a very thin wrapper, very thin binder, you can go higher. Won't have an issue. Um,
So we have Ben as shout out to Ben too, man. Ben has thoughts on working with Cameroon tobacco. It's a good question.
For me, it's an issue of being able to, for my small factory, being able to get it consistently.
Yeah.
But not against it. Cameroon wrapper has a very particular profile of taste, with an aftertaste that stays on the tongue and in the roof of your mouth.
Mhm.
Has a lot of mineral content,
Yes.
salty, has a nice saltiness to it, has a nice sweet, salty, very frontal kind of flavor to it.
Mhm.
You just got to blend around it. I think that you can work with any tobacco,
Right.
to be honest, as long as the quality is there. But it's blending around it. There's some tobaccos that have more of a bigger range in the palate, and there's some tobaccos that you smoke them by themselves, and you're like, this could be a cigar by itself, because it has a range in the palate that hits in all the right areas, and it's missing something. But you can say, well, this could be accepted by the market because
Yeah.
it's already very well-rounded tobacco. Cameroon is not that well-rounded. Cameroon has a lot of holes. You have to fill up those gaps. So again, you can work with it, but then you have to fill in those gaps.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it, because I've tried, I've had the honor of smoking the blends that you guys make for TOG, for Tobaccos of Greenwich, and those cigars are fucking phenomenal, man. So I want to, like, as far as so do you guys plan on, and hopefully you can kind of give us like a little insight, do you guys plan on creating more for TOG in the future, or are you guys just gonna stick to what you already have? Because I mean, don't get me wrong, those are fantastic cigars.
I think that we hit a home run with the shape that is a 55 by 5.5.
Mhm.
That one, it's a blend with 7 different tobaccos, some family tobaccos in there, and I think that one is one that has sold so well, and it's something that we can replicate. If it's not my decision, I don't own the brand, I don't own the store. That's Mikey's decision. But that's a great cigar to continue the production of it. I think it's Mikey's favorite cigar. Maybe he smokes it a ton. And the other projects have always been of smaller volumes, and these smaller volumes are fun projects that we can reinvent the wheel, give something new. So you can expect new things coming out for them. But
Mhm.
Mikey doesn't only work with me. He also works with other companies. We have a great event coming up in June, the Titans event. It's already sold out, and there's going to be 6 manufacturers that he's been working with. And we're going to be up there on stage with them, and we're excited. We created something unique for that event that will only be at that event, and so we keep playing, and he gives me liberty to play, and give him a blend that I think is the right one.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So on a day-to-day basis, while you're working. So I want to ask you, how many cigars do you smoke a day? Because I know you're doing a lot of testing, especially when it comes to the individual crop itself. How many cigars do you think on an average do you smoke a day?
Inches.
Inches.
I smoke probably maybe 8 to 10 inches a day.
8 to 10 inches a day. Okay. So I want to ask you this too. When it comes to, because I know you've worked with quite a few different tobaccos in your time. What are some tobaccos that you have not worked with yet that you would like to?
Well, let me just go back to that question. The reason why I smoke inches is because I tried to smoke the day's production.
Mm-hmm.
So I normally, one of the first things I'll do is I'll go to the quality control table. Factory opens up at 7. By the time I get to the factory, there is 100 cigars rolled of each size. So normally I'll be like, okay, give me one of each. They'll bring it to my office. I'll start my day. I'll start thinking what needs to be done, and I'll probably light one up at that moment. Normally the lighter one that's in production. I don't want to start my day being hit by a strong cigar.
Yeah.
So I'll probably smoke 1 or 2 inches of that first cigar. And okay, the blend is exactly where it needs to be. Let's move on to the next one. So I'll be tasting 2 inches, 2 inches, through 2 inches. And at that moment, I will go through the whole day's production, making sure that the production of the day is not off.
Right.
I normally tell them, hey, give me the ugly ones, give me the broken ones, give me, I'll also sometimes tell them, hey, give me the ones that you think didn't pass the quality control test. Is basically smoking the worst one out of that day. And if the worst one of that day is is good, then the rest should be fine.
Should be amazing.
Yeah.
Somebody, so we got a question here. Said, and this from Paul. Paul said, he said, Class, what is your personal favorite cigar or blend and why?
That's impossible. Impossible question to ask.
That's like picking your favorite kid.
Yes, exactly.
Or favorite sibling?
I think that the best cigar in the world is the cigar that doesn't need anything. To be honest, I've been smoking this cigar since we started, and I didn't even serve myself a glass of wine or water. Right now by my computer, there's no water, no nothing,
No nothing.
and I should have grabbed a glass of water.
You're right.
But we started at 7:30. We're over an hour in.
Over now, yeah.
I haven't had a single sip of water, and my body has not demanded it. So what does that tell you? That the cigar is balanced in a way that it doesn't need anything else to complement it. A cigar that is perfect, the best cigar in the world, is a cigar that doesn't need anything else to enhance the experience, or your body is demanding water, or your body is demanding a break. That's the best cigar in the world. So I think I have created several blends that fall under that category. And they normally tend to be the ones that are in the medium body to a little lower.
Okay.
I think too light, your body wants a little bit more, wants a little bit more engagement in your palate. And even though I do love starting a day with a very light cigar, sometimes a little bit of more complexity, a little bit of that seguidilla that makes a cigar that makes you want to keep taking a puff. You can't just have one puff. You can't just have one like Lay's. That saltiness, umami flavor that keeps you coming back to that cigar is characteristics of what make the best cigar for me.
That's awesome. So now I gotta ask you this. Now I know you can't tell us the what cigar that you are smoking right now. I know you got to keep it under wraps, but I want to can you give us maybe what the blend is on it, possibly?
It has 7 tobaccos in it.
Okay.
It has a Connecticut shade wrapper from Ecuador, and it is about 80% Dominican, 20% Ecuadorian, maybe 25% Ecuadorian. I got to double check the blend.
Okay.
But it's a very traditional blend. It's not old school because it has too many tobaccos in it for it to be called old school. But it is a blend that is blended so that it hits the palate like old school, like how my dad used to make cigars in the 90s, but with a lot more complexity.
So, I have a question for you when it comes to tobacco. How much did you learn from like a person that is so entrenched? Well, I'm going to butcher the word, like I can't speak for my life, but like somebody like Jose Blanco who lives and dies tobacco. Like I met him one time and he was just naming different countries. What countries are good for this? Like he goes like Colombia is good. It's good for filler. So like how much of an influence when it came to you picking tobacco, or did he have any influence on you? Like when it came to you learning about tobacco?
I lived in a household that when you were at the dinner table, all my dad would talk about was tobacco.
Hey, man.
Not that I'm doing the same with my daughter.
Yeah.
But, all I talk about is tobacco. And it maybe brainwashing is a bad word because in the best sense, it's in the best way possible, being brainwashed in the best way possible.
Right.
You love it because everything that is around your family is about tobacco. Clients come down. My father would take me to the dinners with the clients, and I would be a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid literally on fours, running through the restaurant underneath the table, bothering my dad's clients, but I was part of the evening. I remember we would have parties at the farm with music, with roasted pig, with horses, and my dad would, in 20, 30 clients, and my dad would give me the microphone, and I would be the one to give the welcome to them. And then we would go and play off on the side and start a fire. But my dad and my mother never shied about keeping us around the environment. My dad and my mom wouldn't shy away from me missing school or me going on a Saturday or Sunday to the farm. And maybe that's what I'm doing with my daughter. My daughter, we did a trip to Costa Rica last year, and a year and a half ago. And one day of that trip was to go see a tobacco farm. And my daughter goes to the tobacco farm. I take my daughter to a tobacco farm. I take my daughter on Saturdays to the factory for working, and she's around it. We're at the dinner table. We have clients. My daughter is there.
Right.
We go to any country that has tobacco, and I want to go to it. I did a trip with my wife to Indonesia. And my wife said, yes, of course, let's take 2 days out of our trip across the world to go see tobacco. What wife allows that?
She know what? Because she knew that if she didn't, she would never hear the end of it on the flight back.
So
she's like, listen, I got to keep the man happy.
So everything we do, we try to include tobacco in it. And everything my father did and my mother did, they tried to include me in it. So you just love it.
Yeah.
There's no other thing. Everything that we have, everything that my family was able to provide for me, all the experiences I ever had were because of tobacco. So I don't think there was any other choice.
Understandable.
Yes.
Understandable. I mean, I'll tell you this, like my son is 5, he'll be 6 this year. And like, if I'm picking out cigars for the show, or if I decide to do a cigar review on something, he's like, Daddy, can I pick the cigar? I'll let him pick the cigar, no matter what it is. And like, I do have my cigars on a certain shelf. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, so the ones that I have that I don't really want to review, that I just want to smoke to myself, I have those like towards the lower shelf. But I have him look through the cigars, and he'll pick one out. Like, all right, so Dad, can I smoke this one? No, you can't. No, you cannot smoke this until. And I know it say 18, but I say till you're 21. That's what I say. I say anyway till you're 21.
My daughter is 5, and she will smoke her first cigar, and I know what cigar it is. It's the cigar I made for her when she was born.
Okay.
And it's there. It's aging in a little box that says her name and everything. So I know what cigar she's going to smoke. Her first cigar will be the day that she asks for it. So if that's tomorrow and it's naturally comes from her,
it
will be the day that she will try her first cigar. But to this day, she hasn't asked. She goes to tobacco. She's around us. She goes to the farm, plays in the mud and everything. And the day that she asks, I will be happily. I will try to teach her. But with my daughter, like, I'll tell you something that happened like a month ago. My daughter was here in the living room drawing stick figures. Now she's drawing stick figures, and she draws the family. So like, she draws my dad with a belly. She herself in a little dress, and she draws my wife bigger, but with another dress and another color. And she drew me, and I get home and she has a drawing of me as a stick figure with this polo shirt. And it had in orange this, and she drew a K on the stick figure. Wow. Every day she sees me come back from work in this uniform. And that's her vision of me. I take her to school every morning in this uniform.
You're right.
And she sees me as KLAAS wears jeans, mud in his shoes, with a polo shirt that is black with a logo on it. And that's how she draws me. And every day, the first thing I do when I come home is I ask for a hug. and she hugs me. And what is she smelling on me? She's smelling cigars that I've been smoking.
Cigars, yeah.
So it's ingrained in her memory that this is who her dad is.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I hope that she doesn't get brainwashed by school or later in life by other people saying that tobacco is bad for you.
Right.
I don't think she will, but it's a possibility. A lot of kids, are being taught that this is not a good thing. And
you know what? Like, you guys have this amazing story about how much your kids want to join you on a cigar. I got 2 boys that are like, no, Dad, I'm not having a cigar with you. I told my son graduates on the 30th. Now, I have a special cigar lined up for when he graduates, and I told him
very expensive cigar.
Very expensive.
Oh, he definitely knows the cigar too. You can say it.
Yeah, I have a Davidoff Auto.
Yeah,
that I have lined up for his graduation, and I go, "You taking a puff of the cigar?" He goes, "No, I'm not smoking no cigar. You're taking a puff of this cigar. This is a victory cigar right here.
Mm.
This right here is an achievement." No,
yeah. But a puff. Don't make him smoke the whole thing on his.
Oh no. He taking a puff and barely a puff that. But,
yeah, he said barely a puff of that. God,
you enjoy it.
Yeah. He wrestles. So like his thing is he wants to keep his body pure. He doesn't want to drink. He doesn't want to smoke. He's like my body's a temple and I'm a machine. So like I don't want to go and
the total opposite of his dad, by the way.
Yeah, total whatever. Whatever, Fred. Whatever, Fred. And when I was his age, I was 7% body fat when I was his age. All right. And it's funny.
27,
so he has
37.
He has a teammate. One of his teammates before he wrestles puts in a dip. I have never heard or seen anything like and the teammate goes, it gives him energy.
Yeah. Well, all right. Now I'm be real with you, man. I have baseball teammates who, they, man, before a game period. Listen, they got that dip, man. I mean, I've tried the chew, and I accidentally swallowed it one time and damn near took me out. I wasn't trying to. It was an accident. I was like, never again. It almost took me the fuck out of here, class. I'm telling you. I was unable to almost walk. It was pretty bad. And it was one of those, was the big chief, the red chief had the chief on it. That's all I remember. It was the big chief chew, and that it almost took me out of here, man. It almost took me out of here. But listen here, we got a question here from shout out to Fly Guy Cigars. She said, what are a few available now must try Kelner blend cigars? I can say one right off the head. It's coming from Avowed. I mean, other than of course the 80th. If you can find the 80th, get it. Oh, for sure. Thank you, Matt. This Big Red. Listen, the Avowed 1125. And shout out to one team, Matt.
And the New Dawn.
Oh,
I smoked the New Dawn. I smoked the New Dawn on.
You smoked the new size?
No,
I haven't smoked it, but I heard the new size.
I smoked the 46 size a lot.
Yeah,
you smoke it a lot. Okay, all right,
that
all
is
right. So
magic.
all right.
Yeah, I smoke it a lot. A lot of my mornings start with that cigar. But I'll tell you a story about the 1125.
Go ahead.
When we blended it, because again, I make cigars for other people. So at the end of the day, the person that has the final say is the client. It's not me. And there is something to be said about different flavors of the market and how every cigar that I make is not going to be well received. Or every cigar that I make is not going to be liked by everybody. If you one day say, I like this cigar that you make, but I don't like this cigar that you make, that's completely fine by me, because everybody has their own taste preference. And when we were blending that cigar, there's one component in that cigar that if I would have chosen the blend, I would have put half a leaf of that cigar. But Dave and Andrew and the team, they said, no, do the one that has the full leaf. But my personal preference was the one that had half a leaf. And so they ended up choosing the one that had the full leaf. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, I would not do that. I don't think it's flavor wise, it's as balanced as the one that has the half leaf. It is more interesting. The cigar with the full leaf is more interesting, but I personally would not choose that one. And they were adamant, no, we're going to do the blend that has the full leaf. And lo and behold, the cigar was rated at the end of the year, like in top 10 lists, a ton of times. It did super well. It was number 4 in some lists. It was number 1 in some lists. And I'm like, wow, wow, I was wrong. Wow, was I wrong? You know, like they made their choice. They chose the blend, and not the one I would have chosen, but everybody loves it.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not blending for myself. I'm blending for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
So for a blender, and it's very interesting to see what my clients choose, and I can lead them and guide them in a direction. But at the end of the day, they have the final say.
You see, but Zach said, but maybe the one with the half leaf would have been even even a bigger hit.
Zach, no one, you took the words out of my mouth, Zach. You took the
Nobody
words
will
out of
ever
my
know.
mouth. Like honestly, like because
Nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
It's maybe would not have. You know
what? Like I would have went and took maybe like 10 or 20 of them with the half leaf and just put those in the side for my own little personal stash, and be like, nah, this is the one. For your own little personal blend, your own little personal stash.
Yep. I'm blending a cigar right now for a client that he has 4 different blends to choose from. He still hasn't chosen the blend. And if it was my opinion, it would be blend 5 or 6, and he's leaning between 6 and 7. But that retailer knows his clientele better than I do.
Right.
The retailer, my clients are thinking about what sells better in their store or what they like better. So what better to have than your favorite cigar, your blend that you like? And maybe there's too many cigars out there that are too much like the other ones. So he's trying to try something a little bit different. Or maybe his store or his clients that are his day-to-day customers that are going to the store have a preference in a particular style. So I can't be the one to choose. I don't know the customer base. They know the customer base better than I do.
Yeah. So they kind of that kind of falls into a question I wanted to ask you. So I want to know how long did it take you to feel confident in your palate, as far as like what your with knowing that your background and everything that every day talking about your childhood, like when you got into first smoking cigars and really developing your palate, how long did it take you to really get confident, like, okay, I can do this, I can create blends for people and just create bangers?
I was probably the age of 23, like 12 years ago. That's when I realized I could really do this. Like I finished college and everything, and I went back to work full time, and I was working in every single department, working 3 months in the fermentation area, working a whole month just in aging and moving bales around, working 3 months in the farm right out of college. I was smoking a lot of cigars before, like when I was 17, 18. But back then, I was really smoking finished products, and I knew perfectly, memorized like 5 different tobaccos. Back at the age of 18, 17, I had like 5 different tobaccos perfectly memorized in my repertoire, in my palate. By the age of 23, I had a much bigger library, and I understood how each tobacco worked. But that wasn't when I started. That's when I was feeling much more confident. And by the age of 25, I was traveling the world teaching people already. And when when I traveled the world and I saw what was out there, and I saw the customer base, and I saw what they liked, and I saw how they reacted to different types of tobaccos, that's when I started understanding the market.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be a blender, but if you blend to yourself and you don't understand the market,
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mhm.
So I probably like 10, 12 years ago. But yeah, by the age I was 25, I knew I had it. I remember one time I went to a store in Chicago, Uptown,
Mm-hmm.
Diana Silvis, may she rest in peace. Uh, the guys working there, I love them. The owners, we I had an event with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and Phil, the owner, one of the owners, gives me a cigar, and it's a limited edition that we did for that store. And my dad was outside of the store in the back. I was inside of the store, and he gives me a cigar, and he says, I don't know what's inside this cigar. Could you please tell me what's inside the cigar?" So he literally gives me a sheet of paper, a pen, and I just start smoking the cigar by myself in the store as the event is going on. So I tell him, "Hey, look, I think this is what's inside the cigar." So I give him the blend, and I don't think about it. I just gave him the sheet of paper. At the end of the event, he brings my dad and I together, and he on the microphone says in front of everybody, "KLAAS and Henke don't know this, but during the event, I gave them both the same cigar, and I gave them both a sheet of paper, and I gave them both a pen, and I asked them to write down the blend for this cigar because I want to know what's inside the cigar." And I didn't know it was being tested, but then he compared both notes in public in front of everybody, and my dad and I were off by one tobacco. So I nailed about 80% of the blend, according to against my father's notes. And then he asked, "So which is the right blend?" I was like, "Of course, my dad's." Like, don't even think. If my dad says that's the blend, that's the blend. But by the age of 25, I was tasting cigars, and I was getting more than 50% of the blend normally. And understanding the blend percentages, the folio levels, and the different varieties inside a cigar by blind tasting. So I was pretty good back then. I think I'm a little better now.
A little better now.
Man,
Shout
you
out to Zach.
like the way you break it down is just so amazing. It's like a scientist.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a scientist breaking down like the equations and why this burn this way. And you know, like one thing Chico will always say is he can tell by the way that the tobacco burns what region it's from.
Yeah.
You know,
Look at the first time you ash. The first time you ash is what's going to give you the most information about the cigar.
Wow.
wow.
So
After the
Zach,
second time and everything, it depends. A lot of things might have changed, but the first time you ash, that's the best time to
Wow.
analyze a cigar.
Well,
KLAAS,
because it's because of the way that it corals, right?
Mm-hmm. The way the cone, the way it's burning. The first time you ash, that's when you can see the different rates of burn inside a cigar.
that's cool as hell, man. That's cool as hell. So Zach has a question right here. He said, "KLAAS, since you like, well, since like you said, the customer has the final say in the blends. Are there any blends any blends you make that you don't enjoy?"
Every single cigar I make, in my opinion, is a cigar that I can enjoy. I just don't think there's. So I think some cigars have less moments that are a cigar. There's specific moment for every cigar, depending on the flavor profile and everything. So I think some cigars are so out there, are so unique, or are so strong, or taste this particular way that they have less moments. I think that every cigar I make, I'm proud of.
Right.
That's something I tell all my clients. Every cigar, I need to at least give the green light.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a cigar that I would be proud of making, and I think it's a cigar that would be well represented out there by the Kelner Cigars factory. So if it's something I'm proud of, if it's something that I think a certain area of the market is going to like it, yes. There are cigars that I smoke less. Yes, I'm not going to say which ones. but yeah, I think that's the key, that I have to be happy with every cigar that comes out of my factory. And then it's very interesting to listen to the rollers talk about the cigars that they're making, because they're very proud. And there's some rollers that say that the best cigar the factory makes is the one that they're rolling. But then you'll hear them talk about different cigars, or you'll hear them asking to take some cigars at the end of the week for the weekend, because you give the rollers some cigars to take home on Fridays, and they ask for particular cigars, and you kind of understand the flavor base of my factory, or of what they kind of like more than other. It's fun to test my rollers on what we're making.
Yeah, I bet it is, man. Shout out to Mathis, man. Mathis has a question here for you as well. Mathis said, how did you get your palate to be able to pick up different tobacco leaves? Would you think smoking just one leaf at a time easier to make the distinction?
Yeah, I think I said it previously in the show. If you want to learn how to pick out the different tobacco varietals inside a blend, you have to smoke them independently. And sadly, that's not something that is usually available at store level, at the retail level. A lot of companies can do events that do single varietals or vertical tastings of a blend. And those are great opportunities to learn. If you see an event where a company is doing something like that, where you can taste different varietals by themselves, that's a great opportunity to learn. Do not miss out on that. If not, you have to come down to the Dominican Republic or a factory or something, and actually be able to taste them by themselves. If you're smoking them in a blend, you will never be able to really understand it. But then it gets very complicated after that, because I hate when somebody says, and they come to the factory and says, hey, you need to use a Piloto Cubano in my blend. It's like, okay, but from where?
Right.
Like what farm, what supplier? Like the Piloto Cubano grown in the west of the country tastes different than grown towards the center of the country, to the north of the river, south of the river. Like I want Habano in my cigar. What Habano? From what country? There's so many Habano varietals. I want a Corojo varietal, but which varietal of Corojo? And I have not tasted every varietal available, and I have not tasted every varietal from every country. So you're always learning when you try something new from a new farm, and you can't just put Piloto Cubano, one variety, in one box and say this is what Piloto Cubano tastes like. Piloto Cubano grown in one region tastes completely different than Piloto Cubano grown in another region. Piloto Cubano from one supplier fermented in a different way tastes different from another supplier fermented another way. So it is unending learning, and you're always finding new tobaccos from new regions, or a new variety tried out in a new region, or a new region that comes out of nowhere because of a need, or because of a government incentive or something, or a new farmland that a new company bought. So there's always new flavors.
So question about new flavors. Do you prefer like the naturally or the hybrids? Like the hybrid leaf?
I prefer what a company can make consistently.
Okay.
Understandable.
There's some varietals that are, no varietal is pure. Over the years, varietals have changed and adapted, and companies have adapted varietals. Some companies claim to have the original seed of this variety. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but even those maybe have changed a little bit over time. But the tried varietals over years and decades are the ones that have persisted the tests of several crops, of several diseases, of several different seasons. And that's why you grow different varietals in different regions, because of different humidities, different fungi, different diseases that might affect in those regions. Some varietals are stronger against different diseases. So being able to identify which varietal works in what region is really what it's important. And if you can find that varietal to that region and have a profitable farm and have a good taste and good burn, that's really what's important. And the farmers and the growers are always looking for what's next, what's better, what's the new hybrid that's going to increase their yield.
Right.
So I'm not against new hybrids and everything, but always I look out for the farmer, look out for the farmer and his yield, because if we don't have farmers and they have bad crops, then the next generations won't want to work as farmers. They're going to leave tobacco.
Yeah. So I want to go back real quick because you taught people, and I want to ask you this question as far as palate development and stuff. So the question I want to ask is, what are three cigars or flavor profiles every smoker should experience early on?
Every smoker should experience what a sweet cigar is, or a sweet tobacco is, what a bitter tobacco is, and what acidic tobacco is. And every person, if they're wanting to learn, they should be able to identify the regions of their palate. I think that's what you should focus more on. If you want to learn your palate and learn your areas of stimulation. Learn what tobaccos are the ones hitting those areas so that you can memorize that kind of stimulation. And then you say, well, okay, this cigar is drying my mouth. Why is this cigar drying my mouth? Oh, it's because in this blend description that the company gave me, they're not using a varietal that has the ability to stimulate the acidic region that creates saliva. So once you learn which varietals are the ones that are doing these things, then you can start to understand the cigar. So I think the number one, the easiest one is understand which cigars are drying your palate and which cigars are humidifying your palate. And then how do you balance that with what's sweet, which tobaccos are sweet and which tobaccos are bitter? And by I mean bitter, I mean stimulations towards the back of the palate that might be woody, might be earthy, might be leathery, might be oaky, or a lot of strength in the nostrils, pepper, things like that. That's
we were talking
looking for, but
no. That was great, because we do have some people that watch the show that are getting into cigars. We've talked to quite a few people that are trying to get in. How can we build our palate? How can we do this? And so that's really great and informational for them, because it's crazy because of course cigars took a tremendous just up and up spike on for guys that's learning how to smoke, getting into the hobby. And I think that's really important for them to know. So I really appreciate that. And now, if anybody else, y'all have any more questions? You have any more questions?
I got a question for class.
Go ahead.
So before the show, we were talking about Barcelona. So if you can take let's go with a Chevy Alonso. If you were making, if you had to describe him in tobacco, what kind of cigar would he be?
Xavi Alonso was a center back,
Defenseman.
Defense, yeah.
No. He was a center back.
Yeah, midfielder back, kind of defensive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you go by the map of the field and you go by the map of the palate, then he would be an Habano type varietal that stimulates more towards the back of the palate. He would be somebody that focuses on strong defending, building the base of the play from the back to the front.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be tobaccos that have those woody notes. A midfielder would be a tobacco more like a Criollo 98 varietal that stimulates in the center of your palate has the ability to play towards the wings of the palate to the acidity, is a more rounded individual. And then your offense line, your attackers would be the people that can make magic, the spiciness, the pepperiness, the explosive power to make a goal.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been asked that question.
Listen, that's the point. It's actually something that, because then it's like, man, like I've never thought of that.
Mhm. There are base tobaccos to a blend. I sometimes when talking to my clients, we're looking at blend creation and, hey, we like this blend, but what if we change this and add this? And I tell them, no, that tobacco is your foundation to this blend. If you change that, you are changing the whole alma, the whole spirit of that blend. You're changing the foundation. That foundation is what makes the blend what it is. If you want to change it with the play style, change it with your star players, change it with something somebody's going to bring spark or bring something new, but don't change the foundation, the core of how your team plays, of how your blend plays.
I like that.
That's
I
that's
like
that's
that.
that's a good way to break it down.
That
You
really
know.
is. Shout out to X. So X has a question right here for you, and he wants to know the Kelner name is known for consistency and balance. What does balance actually mean to you when you're blending a cigar?
Balance is a cigar that, well, true balance might be a boring cigar, but it's a cigar that all areas of your palate are balanced. If you were to draw a chart and say, okay, your sweetness is a dot on the graph on the chart from 1 to 10, and your acidity is a dot on the graph from 1 to 10, and you say, okay, my sweetness is at a 3 out of 10, my bitterness is at a 6 out of 10, my acidity is at a 4 out of 10, and you draw a curve of the intensities that you're feeling. That's the charts of that blend, of that flavor stimulation. So true balance would be a chart where every single one of those profile levels are all of them at 5 or all of them at 3. And your graph would not be an interesting graph, would be a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Would be a straight line down the chart. And it would look very odd. Normally you have, but in this case, I don't think you could do it because you would have to also bring up saltiness up to the same level as the others. And too much salt in your blend is bad. And too much salt in your food is bad when you're cooking. So salt is normally very low on that chart. And maybe you do a cigar all around 2 or 3 in intensity. You have a 3 intensity in salt, 3 intensity in sweet, 3 intensity in the bitter area, and you create a true balanced cigar. Balance means that one area of your palate is not overpowering the other areas of your palate.
Wow.
I dig it. I dig it for sure. And shout out to Michael Roll Tide. So his question is,
War Eagle.
his question is it harder to blend a mild cigar or a strong cigar?
Strong cigar.
Strong cigar.
By far. There's a where you're looking to make a strong cigar. Normally you have 2, maybe 3 tobaccos that are your strength, and you have 1 or tobacco that is your burning capacity, is your combustion. If you make a cigar just with strong ligeros, that cigar is going to have a hard time creating a cone, is going to have a hard time having consistent combustion, too many oils. So making a strong cigar, but still making it with good combustion is a constant fear. I that's why I prefer blending medium bodied cigars, because I can put in strong cigars but balance it out with lighter cigars to help the combustion. The stronger cigars, uh, I like perfect cigars. I like perfect combustion. Stronger cigars have just a little bit harder time with combustion.
Hmm.
But then there is an aspect that you're not thinking about. When you're in a blending session that takes days, and you're blending two strong cigars, your
Mm-hmm.
your body takes a toll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine smoking five different blends that are all strong in a day, and then doing tweaks, and then doing that again the next day, and then doing that again the next day, and then for the next 2 3 days, you're only going to be smoking strong cigars. Your body gets a little bit more tired. Your palate gets a little
Yes.
bit more tired.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna ask, would that kill your palate?
Yeah, so it takes longer for me to blend strong cigars, because I can blend mild cigars all day. I can smoke 15 cigars in a day, no problem. You know, but if they're strong, there's an aspect of, hey, class, take it a little slow, because
Yeah.
I mean, you need to be at your tip top shape, and if your palate is blown, then you can't keep blending.
Mm.
Daniel has a interest.
Oh yeah, yeah. We get this real quick. So of course, X said he said thank you for answering my question. He said to add to to the curiosity. He said what's a tobacco characteristic you think most smokers overlook or don't fully understand?
Combustion.
Combustion.
Hmm.
I think understanding your cigar is probably the most important part of your experience.
Hmm.
So, like I said before, every cigar is its own animal, it's its own person.
Right.
And it's like if you have multiple children, every one of your children are different, and you have to treat them differently, and you have to, uh, you have to lecture them differently.
Hmm.
You treat them differently because they're different people. They answer differently to different
Right.
situations.
Yeah.
So I I have a hard time. I hate the terminology user error. Like, somebody writes back to me, "Hey, the cigar didn't burn well." Well, I wasn't there to know if it was user error, or it was humidity error, combustion error, right? Lighting it up. It, if there's construction issues, like it's not drawing, okay, that's on me. Um, but I sometimes I say, well, this cigar didn't burn like your other cigars. Well, that cigar has a wrapper that is much more oilier. That cigar, Hallowed Hands, for example, is a great example. That wrapper is much oilier. You know,
Hmm.
the
Very oily.
the combustion is completely different on that cigar. I am not against touch-ups. I'm not against helping the cigar a little bit, not burning it when you touch it up, but just give it a slight touch to help the whole cigar burn evenly throughout the whole time. And it when you get, I think that somebody's favorite cigar, they understand it. It's like, I smoke one of these every day. I smoke two of these every day. I have so many people that tell me this stuff. This is my cigar. This is what I have 200 of these in my humidor. And that's what they religiously smoke. That person understands that cigar to a degree that maybe I don't, and they have a success rate of experiences because they understand the cigar.
Right.
Uh,
Hmm.
and I think that's probably the most important thing when people overlook that they jump from one cigar to the next and expect a different the same experience. And
Right. Yeah.
every cigar is its own animal.
Wow.
That's true. That's true. And shout out to Father. Father's in here. He said it seems to me there's a difference between balance and harmony.
That's true. Uh, Harmony is taking the strong notes, the lighter notes, and making them work together. It's an orchestra of different instruments working together. It's not every instrument in your orchestra playing the same note and being boring and being monotone. Harmony it's all the instruments coming together, playing different parts of the song, so that you have a harmonious experience. True, a true balance would be monotone. Would be every single instrument playing the same part, the same notes, and then it's boring. It has
Right.
no layers to it, and I think that is what complexity is.
Right.
Complexity is layers of flavor profiles. Complexity is taking a tobacco that is sweet with another tobacco that is sweet and layering them up on top of each other and creating a sweet experience that is complex, not just a monotone sweetness. Complexity is layering two bitter tobaccos on top of each other so that you don't have just a bitter note, but you have a woody note from one tobacco and you have a leathery note from another tobacco, and it creates layers of complexity and creates harmony.
That's awesome, man.
Mhm.
So Darshan has a question here too. He said, "Have you ever thought about doing something with all your siblings and coming up with a cigar?"
Well, when we did the 80th, for example, that was a family affair.
Family,
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
It took
I
us.
think you meant to ask, do y'all plan on coming out with something else?
Mhm.
Maybe. I think that's maybe what might be.
I'm not against working with the family. The family has worked together in different moments, different members. Um, but my dad also always said that we should be independent and be our own individuals and,
Mhm.
and shine in our own different ways. Um, Putting seven chefs in the same kitchen to make a dish
Yeah.
Yeah.
believe me, I mean, when we were making the 80th, I mean, it was 11 blends. It was a lot of uh, back and forth. My sister liked one, my wife liked another one, my other brother liked another one, my dad and I liked another one, and being able to all agree on what we want to show the world is not it's not an easy affair. But I think it's fun, and I think always the family should capitalize that we are a family and that we work together and we can provide something together. I think that would be fun. I like using tobaccos from my family farms. I like including my family and my brothers and my dad in a lot of these projects.
Mhm.
That comes to my factory every so often, and he
Yeah.
gets to taste what I'm developing. I've even had my dad like scribble some blends to see what he can come up with my inventory.
Yeah.
So it's not, even though I am the owner and I am the blender and everything, I do like getting input from them.
So like, so like when you give your dad a cigar to try that you blended, like how accomplishing does it feel when like when your dad is like, okay, this is good, you know.
My dad, normally I give cigars to my dad that I know he's gonna like.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
I know his flavor profile now at his age. I know the size of the cigars that he likes. Um, the funny thing is that he will try to dissect the blend right away.
You're right.
Mm.
So it's almost like you can't keep secrets from him. And
Mhm.
and my dad lets me be my own blender. So even though he says, "Hey, have you tried this blend with this tobacco?" He It's like we respect the blend that was created for what it is. Now there are some blends that I have given to my father that he doesn't like, and there are some blends that I have given to him that I know he's not going to like.
Yeah.
And there are blends that I know that are work in progress, and I give it to him and says, "Hey, what would you change?" But he normally respects the blends that I make, and he doesn't lecture me on his blends. He analyzes the blends. He
Mm.
gives me feedback on them. He doesn't tell me what to change from them. 99% of the time, he doesn't tell me what to change.
Mm.
You're right.
So who has the best palate in the family?
My dad.
His dad.
Oh no, well besides your dad, out of the siblings.
It's
Alright.
between me and my brother.
I
Me and
knew
my
you had
brother.
him in there.
It's between one of us.
Yeah.
We both have also different inventories. So I work with some tobaccos that he doesn't work with, and he works
Mhm.
with some tobaccos I don't work with. So he has more experience in some tobaccos than I do, and I have more experience in other tobaccos.
As I mean, that's pretty much
Mhm.
a thing anyway. I mean, y'all are two totally different people. So
Mhm.
of course, it's only right. So Mathis has a question for you. and he wants to know what is the strongest blend / cigar that you make.
It's not out on the market.
Oh,
Uh,
not on the market.
no, I mean, I think that maybe the Meditations blend from Stoic is one of the stronger ones.
Mhm.
That Hollowed Hands is also one of the stronger ones. There are some that I have made that are stronger for like local market here or for like small productions.
Mhm.
I had one person come in once and asked for a very, very strong cigar, and he was puking outside of the factory because it was too strong. I thought he wanted something very strong.
That's what you wanted. That's what you wanted. You got what you
I
wanted.
delivered. I delivered what you asked for.
Yeah.
But I think I've also had clients come in to the factory thinking they want a very strong blend,
Right.
and they leave with a medium body blend. And maybe it's because of my blending style. Maybe it's because of the tobaccos I have in my inventory. But there's not a lot of super strong cigars that come out of my blend, out of my factory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, some people think that they want a strong cigar until they actually experience what a strong cigar really, really is. And again, like you just said, it had somebody puking, which it will have you like that. You know, especially when you just, you know, you say, oh, I make me a strong cigar. Okay.
And I think also a lot of people come in asking for a strong cigar. What they really mean is a very complex cigar.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So those two words are completely different. And I think that you can deliver strength or intensity by delivering complexity. And complexity is a lot more enjoyable. And sometimes there's a lot of strong cigars out on the market that are monotone. And it's just hitting that one note. It's there to satisfy a particular flavor profile or a nicotine hit. And that's not my blending style. So I don't think there's ever going to be a lot of strong cigars coming out of my factory.
Now, there's one cigar that is undefeated against me. I'm 0-3 against this cigar. It's the Davidoff Late Hour. Don't ask me why. The Davidoff Late Hour. Every time I smoke it, I'm sitting in the shop like this. Like I can't. Like I'm like this for like 2 hours, drinking Pepsi. You know.
Well,
he said benchmark Padrones.
I like the Hollowed Hands, but I think it was strong in my opinion, low medium. Depends which shape you made because you smoked. Because if it was the Toro is the lighter one out of all of them.
Yeah.
The 46 is a little stronger, but also it's because of the tobaccos in there that I mentioned, strength or complexity. In the Hollowed Hands, there's two Corojos. There's an Ecuadorian Corojo and a Dominican Corojo, and those are between those two tobaccos and one other. Those are really the ones that are giving the intensity towards the back and some of that peppery. I don't think it's a strong cigar. Strong cigars don't really come out of my factory. But if you want a little bit of a stronger experience, try the smaller ring gauge.
Said it was the Toro.
Toro's the lightest one. Yep.
Now we're approaching the 2-hour mark, and I don't want to hold you any longer. And I really appreciate you for coming on with us. This has been a fantastic show, and we're really honored to have you on. So one thing with us, how we do our show, we're big on men's mental health. It's very important, and so we ask all our guests, how they're doing mentally, physically, and emotionally. So I want to ask you, KLAAS, man, how you doing mentally, physically, emotionally? How are you doing?
Physically, I had not needed any water.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Blend, no water. This is a perfect test. Mentally, emotionally, thank you guys. You told me it was going to be chill. You told me it was going to be fun.
Yeah.
This is like hanging out with the boys, and I appreciate taking some time away from my long weekend to just enjoy cigars, separate from my family too. So thank you for giving me an excuse to smoke 2 cigars tonight.
Hey man, no problem, no problem. Hey, anytime.
Anytime,
And
yeah.
also, I want to extend you an invite to our Discord as well. I'm sure it'll be some, whenever you want to come hang out with the boys, that's what we do. Whenever we, after the show, we get hop in the Discord, and I'm sure it's be some, some people that would love to smoke and ask you questions whenever they can, or whenever you can't hop on. So I would love to
He's
extend.
like, I might be a little bit too busy for that.
Hey, no, that's
If
fine.
I hop on one Discord, I have to hop on all of them. I would not have a life.
That is.
I have to make these things special. If I'm available to you every day, then it's not special.
You're right. Yo, you're right about that.
I get it.
You're right about that. You are right about that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm not a big Discord guy because
yeah, understandable, man. I understand. But listen, everybody, we want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show with us. Everybody, we really appreciate the love and support.
Hey, Fred, before you get to closing arguments, how are you doing mentally, man? How are you doing? It's almost time for the snip.
It is. It's almost time. Yeah. Class, I'm getting neutered, bro. We got 4 kids. It's time to get it on up out of there. And as a matter of fact, on the 8th next week, I'll be getting the big chop done. So
I'm closing down the factory.
Yeah.
Listen, after this, I may need to take a trip down there to the factory, man. After this, I may need to, come down there and chill with you, and and smoke some good cigars, man. Because it's gonna be a time for sure. But I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. I'm making it. This has really been. It's been an awesome show, man. Really, like it's an honor having you on with us. It really is. And say I invited some of our unbanded brothers to come on with us, but they weren't able to join. But they were like, man, it's so sick that he's coming on. So shout out to Peter, shout out to Felipe, shout out to everybody that's been tuning in with us. You doing good?
I'm doing good, man. Doing better, man. Getting ready for the big day.
my big day or your big day?
Hey, listen, you might have an accident before the big day.
Hey man,
you might have kid number 5.
Look, everybody said, I said you some frozen peas. Oh man. But listen,
I'm maintaining, man. Still working like a dog.
Yeah.
They got me there for 24 for about 62 hours a week now. So anywhere between 60 and 70 hours a week, I'm at that damn hotel. So basically I should live there, and I should be getting like free nights at the hotel, even though I get free nights, but I should be able to stay at my hotel for free.
Yeah.
Like I need a rollout bed for as much as
not a rollout bed, not the rollout bed.
Listen, man, I listen, like I spend more time than I do at home.
Yeah, it's understandable, man. Hey, listen, y'all. Next week, we're gonna have a free smoke session. We have now, and also, class, we're gonna have Vance Taylor from Stoic on with us in June. That'll be June 3rd. We're gonna have him on. We got I think we got Matt Booth for July, so Matt Booth is gonna be coming on with us as well on the 16th. And class, listen, anytime you want to come on, you can. Anytime. Just let me know. Anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. Just hang with the boys, of course. Like you're part of the family, man. So we.
Hey, listen now. If Barcelona choke and lose this lead, you might need some therapy to come up on here and chill.
They're not.
No, you said they were confident too. They're not. But listen,
well, they got a 13-point lead against Real Madrid, man. What a disappointment! What a disappointment that team is. Hey,
we're Dutch, man. So
yeah,
the Barcelona school of soccer is Dutch.
So, so know what? I was
Family
thinking,
from my dad's mother's side is also from Catalunya. So
yeah, wow.
that's why we support the Barcelona team.
So Terry Henry told a story about how he was with Samuel Eto'o, and they're at the stadium, and they see that the sign where they have that the stadium sign at, and it has like some saying from Barcelona, and he said Iniesta heard him, and he goes, "You just came to this team. You didn't earn the right to say anything. You haven't earned any championship yet. Until you win a championship, then you can talk about my clone. Then you can talk about my club. You know, and that year they won a Champions League.
Of course, those were several years. Those years. Back to back.
Hey, listen, y'all. This has been a fantastic show. We don't want to hold class anymore, you know, because he smoked 2 cigars. He got to go in, man. You know, when he's working, he got to finish working. So listen, y'all.
Finish this before I go to bed.
Yeah,
there you go. Listen, y'all. Much love to y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in with us. Of course, we'll see y'all next week, same place, same time. And what tell a friend of a what?
Tell a friend. Tell a motherfucking friend.
Yep.
Cigar Avengers till next time.
Peace. Yes, sir. Listen, we love y'all. Stay lit. Stay laughing. Cigar Avengers out. Peace, y'all.
Peace.